Hello and welcome back. Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the stream. It's me, Digi. We're in FS 2020, and we are getting set to start this afternoon for another one in my Go West Young Man in Canada flight series from Toronto to, I butcher this, Sault Ste. Marie, something like that. Hello, Two-Faced Disc. Welcome, my friend. Happy to have you aboard. God bless you as well, my brother. I am getting set here, but very happy for the company. And can you do me a favor? Can you let me know whether or not you're hearing any background audio at all, like my microphone or my in-game menu? I'm checking my volume levels, but for some reason I can't hear it inside of my other screen. So I'm just checking to see whether or not I actually hear anything. Thank you. Let me just fire my other screen back up again. Not sure if I'm running into a problem. Well, I think you can hear me. My microphone, at least. Yeah, there we go. But for some reason, I can't hear the in-game audio. Okay, that was me. I'm okay now. Alright, let me double check because I think I'm getting some background noise. Want to make sure I'm not hearing that. I should be running a video broadcast and I should be getting noise cancellation. Yeah, room echo removal, noise removal. There we go. Done. It is still picking up some background noise though, which is kind of bothering me. Okay, I think we're okay now. I think. This might be better. Alright, so today's flight is going to be a bit of a throwback for some people. We're going to be flying the 737-600, but we've got some new liveries that I got through flightsim.to. I will show you what those liveries are. First off, let's go find a 737. I had an Air Canada livery for a while, and I had other liveries that I installed. However, I got my hands on an Air Ontario livery, and I've also got Canadian North, and I've also got, where's the other one? There we go, Pacific Western. We're going to be flying Pacific Western this afternoon, and I do also have Trans-Canada Airlines livery as well, but again, all in due time. Today we're going to be taking the Pacific Western livery out to Charlie Yankee Alpha Mike. And for customization, it's going to be... What was it? Let me go on the website. I already forgot what the registration was. It's Charlie Golf Romeo Papa Whiskey, I think. Yes, it is. So, we'll say Pacific Western. I found these on flightsim.to. Pacific Western 197. The GSX and SemBrief and PMDG integration should take care of getting my fuel and weight and balance all checked. So let's go ahead and load in at default Toronto Pearson. I'm going to be flying out of Terminal 3. Terminal 3 is this guy, and I believe we're going to be taking what it thinks of as Gate 19, which is actually, let me check. What gate is that? Gate 19 is Bravo 13. So that's the one I want. Now, if I'm going to be flying on VATSIM, I'm not going to be having group flights, and I'm going to take live traffic off, just in case anybody else is at the airport. I want to see them and not be confused by simulated real-time, excuse me, simulated real-time traffic. We'll take gate 19 if we can. And that should be everything I need to get started, at least as far as I know. Now, I don't think you can change the tail number on these, so I wouldn't necessarily want to overwrite the tail number. That should do it. Let's go ahead and load in. Now, I might have to manually punch in the flight plan in the 737-600, but that's okay. I'd rather do that than have the SimBrief integration potentially bork up the process. Also, if you're not following on my Discord, I did take some time earlier today to crack open the CPU and to reapply the thermal paste. I can say within reason, the performance is generally better. We got a fresh coat of paint, so to speak, which I am enjoying at the moment. So we'll let the GSX main menu load in, and I will go ahead and start turning some systems on. Batteries on. And before I do anything else, let's go ahead and go downstairs, get my ground surfaces connected. GPU card, ground power request. That's the first thing I do before we take off. Well, there's a lot more involved than that, but the first thing I want to do is to get the ground power connected. So I think the bus battery is actually going to be fine. And let's see. Do a quick check of the control surfaces. Let's get this going, and we'll get it aligned first and foremost. And we'll get the dome light bright for now. And now let's go ahead and go to nav. I don't know if my alignment's instant. I forgot. I haven't messed with this plane in a little while, so that might explain why. But let's get started with the usual preparatory flow. I'm going to turn my circuit breaker lights all the way up and my panel brightness all the way up. And then we're going to get the emergency lights armed. They're armed. Let's go ahead and get the fasten seatbelt sign to auto, and then I'm going to turn on window heats. Probes will leave for later, pumps will leave for later, and what do we have? Recirc fans auto. Let's get the packs on. Packs are on. APU bleed can stay off for now. We'll get all the numbers punched in shortly. I'm going to turn the logo light on, and I think that's everything upstairs for right now. So let's continue. Ooh, look at that, we have a big electronic flight bag in front of us. So let's go ahead and take use of it. We will get our data from SimBrief for today's flight. We're flying Pacific Western 197, and we're going to be on VATSIM for this. We're flying from Toronto to Sault Ste. Marie, and we're flying the Charlie Golf Romeo Papa Whiskey registration. And I can get departure and arrival data for weather. We've got the OFP in front of us, and I can also load Toronto Pearson chart data here if I want, which might not be a bad idea. And it also seems to know exactly where I'm parked, so that's great. Alright, that's me. What am I missing? We're using nautical miles. And general preferences I think are good. I just finished updating the PMDG plane, so we should be fine. I'll leave it in the OFP page for now, and we will go ahead and get started. Also, I want to make sure GSX is taking care of me, so let's get going. I will operate the jetway and use Air Canada. This gate is a default jetway, that's fine. And while we're connecting, let's go ahead and request catering service. It's going to take me a little bit to get everything set up. Also, let's go ahead and get boarding started as well. Do you need help? Just want to take a moment to say, to my brothers and sisters in Christ, I would certainly appreciate prayer support. Mrs. DG and I are trying to figure out why she's been having a lot more pain lately and more difficulty getting around. You guys have known for some time that I've been in the process of figuring out, we've been in the process of figuring out her condition, and she's getting around more slowly these days, so I'm praying for wisdom in that sense. God knows what he's up to. I wish it was a little easier to tell sometimes, but we do what we can. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue with the boarding process. The jetway is connected. We've got the default jetway replacements, which is superb. And the trucks are here, so we're getting catered as well. Let me open up the doors. Let's see. Left entry.
Do you want to board crew?
Sure do.
Boarding starting.
Let's get the IRS position entered as well, while we're getting ourselves prepared. Fuel and payload. Is there something that lets me actually auto-load this thing? I thought there was. We're taking 104 passengers today.
Crew boarding starting.
And is there a place where I can actually get everything loaded and set? Let's see. OFP, Navgraph charts, general preferences. Oh, excuse me. Let's go to performance tool. Let's take it from the aircraft. Let's import weather and runway ID. We're taking runway 33 right. Three right, 545 feet. Conditions dry, and anti-ice off, packs on. Okay, I think we can calculate this now. That's superb. Okay, so now we have performance. Nathan's Planes, great to see ya. Welcome aboard. Hey, guess what plane we're flying?
Your crew has boarded. Passengers boarding starting.
Welcome aboard, buddy. I know, right? Now I should have an interior, so I should see people loading in. Don't know why one of my crew is super textured or non-textured, but it's okay. Here come the passengers, which is superb. Alright, so everybody's boarding, everybody's having a good time. Let's go ahead and get our part done. So, we've got the power connected, so now I can go ahead and continue with my stuff. Did I set up the payload? Oh, okay. The electronic flight bag took my current aircraft performance to figure out some stuff. At least I'm hoping. So, current fuel, we have 24,999 pounds. In terms of our flight plan, the briefing preview showed 13,600 max, so we can probably chop that. We'll take 13,800, and that should be fine for fuel. And doors and services are being handled by GSX, so I'm fine. The catering service is complete, which is superb. So we got fuel, payload, and everything's being taken care of. I believe GSX should also be able to handle the pushback instead of using PMDG. So let's do pause and hit, and we will take Charlie Yankee Yankee Zulu for Pearson. And I'm going to take the airport position for our IRS. I believe we are Bravo 13, but I've never gotten gate stuff to work. It worked. Oh my. Alright, origin is Toronto. Destination, Charlie Yankee Alpha Mike. Okay, so runway is going to be 33 right for departure. Company route, Papa Whiskey Alpha. Wait, hold on. Getting ahead of myself. There we go. Papa Whiskey Alpha 197. Oh, excuse me, it's in the wrong spot. We got some folks boarding. It might be a full plane today. So people are getting loaded in. Unfortunately, my textures aren't fully set up. I forget what the trick is, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm actually happy to see passengers even if half of them look purple. I'll probably get that sorted pretty quickly, so I'm not worried about it. So, everybody's loading in. I'm happy. And let's go ahead and work on the routing. Routing. Alright, I believe this was the AVSEP 7. And we're taking runway 33 right. It's selected. So we'll activate that. We'll execute. We'll go to performance init. And what do we currently have for zero fuel weight? I gotta go back to the payload. Zero fuel weight is 112.4 with a CG of 24.5 and GW of 126.2. I think it was 112.2. Let me just add that in for now. Hold on. I forgot really fast, but hold on. No, 112.4. 112.4. And what do we have for reserves? Reserves, we're gonna say actually, I'm gonna take a look at my briefing. So FinRes, we have about 2.1. I'm gonna say 2.3. So I'm gonna put at least 2.3 for reserves. Cost index for today's flight is gonna be 8. And planned fuel is 13.6. Okay, so we're cruising up to 380. And cruise winds are going to be 249 at 143. Okay, let's do N1 limits. I think we can do a takeoff 1D rate at this airport. We certainly got the space for it. And let me think. Did the EFB tell me how much flaps to use for takeoff? Flaps 1. Okay. Takeoff is flaps 1. And we're going to be using N1 88.26. That's pretty close. That's pretty close. So flaps 1. There we go. 125, 126, 133. And CG I thought was 24.5. So trim of 542. Let's make sure that's set. Welcome aboard, everybody. We're prepping for our flight on Pacific Western Airlines from Toronto to Sault Ste. Marie. I'm probably butchering the daylights out of that name, so my apologies to my Canadian friends. We are going to be traveling up and away from Toronto, crossing, I think, just shearing the top off of like Michigan, and then basically we'll be coming back across the border and landing, coming in over the bay, but not coming in over the water to land. We'll be coming over the river. And I think that should take care of getting set. At least I think so. Alright, so that's the departure. Let me take a look at the menu and the legs. We have vectors to TTAD, AFCEP, and then PEPMA. PEPMA on the flight plan is probably, yeah, it goes out into, what is that, Lake Huron? No, hold on. Let's see. Lake Ontario, Lake Erie. That's got to be Lake Huron because that's Lake Michigan and that must be Lake Superior. I'm probably getting the lakes mixed up, but it's either Huron or Superior. So Musset is the last waypoint, or at least it should be. Musset, and then we're going to be taking the RNAV into runway 30. So let's go ahead and prep that. Let's do Musset, and then we're going to be setting up for the arrival. We'll take the RNAV 30, and I believe what was the approach? Hold on, folks. Let me change that. It was RNAV 30. Let's take VIGSEG. So VIGSEG takes this kind of like just like a left turn. What's Opmun? Let's see where that one takes us in. Opmun takes us in. Actually, I could deal with that. That's Atmun, excuse me. Alright, so we've got that set, and what do the legs look like now? We've got vectors out of Toronto, and then Musset, and then arrive discontinuity, which we can fix in flight to Atman, SVED, that takes us down. Go around altitude is going to be 3,100 feet. So there we go. We've got our performance data for departure, and we've got our flight plan set. So if I take a look, it's going to be 133 for the V2 up top. Okay, and what is the departure course? Sounds like boarding completed. That's good. Departure is going to be 327. Okay, 327. We'll put it on both sides just in case. And then we're also going to put it in the middle. Three, two, 7. Done. So now VNAV should be good. Oh wait, hold on. Arm the auto throttle. Arm the flight directors. Now VNAV and LNAV are good. Good. Hit the B button to calibrate the altimeter because I'm lazy. We're not going to use biro mins for the RNAV, but if we did, the approach would show me a MDA of 860. So we're going to set that up right now. 860. And that should give us all the information that we need in order for us to fly right, which I haven't been the past few times I've been in the sim. But I've had fun. I flew on MSFS multiplayer, and I got in before Connected last night when he flew into Zurich. And Zurich is a handcrafted airport in FS 2020, which is great. It's bespoke. What they say bespoke. All right. And let's hit the traffic button. And now we should be able to see, or the idea is we should be able to see weather and give me data. And that should probably be fine at this point. We've got the top bar set, all except the altitude for the departure. Let's take a look at AFCEP, take a look at those charts. AFCEP, show me the chart overlay. Chart overlay, we've got a departure altitude of what? Unless otherwise by ATC, we're going to go 5,000. Alright, let's go ahead and finish connecting to VATSIM. It's going to be PWA 197. We're going to be taking a B736, and that's it. Last time I checked, I did not see any ATC in the Canadian area, so we're not going to have anybody giving us PDC, but at the same time, we should be fine. I'll go ahead and tap into CTAF for the airport. What is that, actually? Should be ground frequency. DATIS is 120825. Apron advisory. Toronto clearance is 121.3, but I don't see anything. I see ground point niner, pad control, tower, London radio, Toronto departure. I think we're going to be doing ground. So I'm going to tune 121 decimal niner. And yes, pardon the lack of immersion, but I'm just using the front end for VATSIM because I'm lazy like that. But that should take care of us, actually. We're done with boarding, and we need to close some windows, including one over the wing, because I decided to open everything. Okay, let's go back to the menu, go to the FS Actions, and close doors. Let's see. We're going to close these doors, and those doors should all get closed. I'll double check them in a moment. Ground services, we have ground power, and we're going to be releasing that after we get the parking brake set and the APU started. So let me double check. Doors are all closed at this point. We should be fine. Let's double check one more time. Okay. Looking mostly cloudy, but the externals are closed for now at least. We'll dismiss the rear stairs and all the things as we get ready to go. So, let's take a look upstairs, and we'll start doing the things. I usually like to get the yaw damper started when I actually get ready to start doing everything. So we'll turn the yaw damper on, and then we'll get one fuel pump going for the APU. I will go ahead and turn on the anti-collision light, and then we're going to go ahead and turn on the APU bleed, and we will get the APU started. APU is starting up. What does that mean? That means we'll leave seatbelts auto, window heat is on, probe heat is off. We'll get the hydraulics started to get warmed up. Isolation valve was set to auto once we get the engines started, although there's nothing saying I can't get the isolation valve closed up now. It shouldn't interfere with the engine start. I do know I'll turn the packs off for that. And we're going to be cruising at 38,000 feet, so I will set the altitude now. And the landing altitude at Charlie Yankee Alpha Mike is going to be 629. So that's pretty close to 650. There we go. So we've got the cruise and landing altitudes set. And again, double checking. The APU has come on, or at least, there we go, now it's available. APU gen is available. We'll get the APU gen going, and the battery is on the bus. So what am I missing? What am I missing? It's been a while since I've flown this, obviously. Since we're going to be starting the engines pretty soon anyway, let's go ahead and get all the fuel pumps going. Any of these that say low pressure and stay low pressure mean that I don't have a lot of fuel. Probably like the center pumps, because I don't think there's anything in them. APU gen battery on the bus, running on the APU gens, and that should be fine. double and triple checking myself, but I think we should be okay at this point. Okay, nav is set. And we'll get the dome light off. Okay, APU is running. So now we should be fine to start getting ready to get out of here. But before I do that, let's make sure that we have our main panel lights lit. And same thing for the bottom ones as well. Well, the bottom ones are set. So I'm going to set my number 2257 for my squawk. And we'll go ahead and we'll get started with TARA right now just because I'm lazy. We're doing RNAV, so I don't have to tune our frequency. And now we should be okay. All right. So I've got Toronto ground tuned, so I should be fine. Actually, I don't think I need to tune Toronto ground. I think I need to tune Toronto apron. North apron is 122275. So let's practice that. One two 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 seven five. Let's swap over. Double checking myself here. Toronto North apron, Pacific Western 197, type Boeing 737-600, gate Bravo 13 will be pushing back. Okay, so we've already got the flight plan filed, and we've got the APU running. So I need to make sure I've got everybody ready to go, and we will go ahead and request our pushback now. So catering service is completed, boarding is completed. We'll prepare for pushback and departure. And now we're going to release ground power. Thanks for catching my back there.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
Fantastic. Yeah, and we don't have center fuel. That's why these are going to stay lit if I turn them on.
Departure checks completed. Bypass pin inserted.
One thing's for sure, I need the parking brake set to make sure I don't actually do anything dumb. So chocks should be removed.
Locking gear.
Chocks are removed. That was close. Should be good at this point. Alright, so, nose left, tail right. No, excuse me, that's the wrong way. Nose right, tail left.
Unable to accept RNAV Yankee approach, inform ATC. Goose and small bird activity in the Toronto International Area. Inform ATC that you have information. X-ray. Toronto Inter...
Okay, I don't think I had ground frequency tuned last time. Toronto North apron, Pacific Western, Boeing 737-600, PW 197 pushing back, gate B13.
Release parking brakes, please.
Oh wait, hold on. Which one's the brake button? I thought it was this. Oh, that's the gear.
Release parking brakes, please.
Yeah, that should be it. There we go.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will.
All right, we're ready to go. Let's go ahead and hit the ET button. And now we should be fine. Get the packs off for that. Let's see, am I missing anything? We're running on the gens, and the APU bleed is on. That might be why, but I'll double check. Yeah, I mean, we're APU gen battery on the bus, so I'm not sure why we're not doing anything. Is there something I'm forgetting to do here? Oh. Well, you know, Digi, you can always turn it on to the actual engine start position. That would be great. That'd be superb. Starter valve open.
Please set parking brakes.
Alright, let's go ahead and get the parking brakes set for them. Parking brakes set.
Waiting your confirmation for a good engine start.
Alright, let's go ahead and turn on both engines first. And we'll do engine 2. There we go, we should be fine now. Flaps to 1. Engine start number 1. Yeah, we should be fine now. Confirm good engine start.
Cockpit to ground.
Departure runway
We have a
23.
good engine
Notices
start.
to air
You can
missions
disconnect.
voice advisory.
Unlock
Aircraft
gear.
filed RNAV Yankee approach equipped but unable to accept RNAV Yankee approach inform ATC. Goose and small bird activity in the Toronto International Area. Inform ATC that you have information. X-ray.
That's weird. Why did my frequency
Toronto
change?
International 8 is information X-ray weather at 1700 Zulu. Wind variable at 6. Visibility 4. Runway 23 RVR 5000 variable to greater than 6000 going down. Light rain, mist. 500 overcast. Temperature 6. Dew point 6. Altimeter 2986. Primary IFR approach ILS runway 24 left. Secondary IFR approach RNAV Yankee or ILS runway 23. Simultaneous parallel approach is in effect. Departure runway 23. Notices to air missions
is
voice
clear.
advisory.
Right is clear.
Aircraft
Running runway 23, but flight plan was for 33, right? Given that there's no ATC right now. Oh wait, we do have tower online. So let's see. Tower can take care of us actually. Thank you. I see the locking pin. Tower is what? Tower is 118.7. Let's tune him in. All right, here we go. ATIS right now is available. Let's take a look at the ATIS. Okay, I don't see ATIS just yet, but we'll go ahead and check in. Thank you. John Pearson Tower, good afternoon. Pacific Western 197, outside Terminal 3, mic check.
Sorry, last station calling Toronto Tower, say again.
Good afternoon, Pacific Western 197, type Boeing 737-600, just pushed back from gate Bravo 13, Terminal 3. Just looking to confirm IFR to Sault Ste. Marie, Charlie Yankee Alpha Mike.
Western 197, Toronto, very good evening, Roger, stand by. I'll have your clearance shortly.
Good stuff. I'll get myself set up with some systems verification while they're actually doing that. And let's see. Full left and right. Full forward and back. Full left and right rotors confirmed. Okay, we're good. Flaps are set. Let's go ahead and reset fuel flow and get our lights on. Okay.
And Pacific Western 197, I have your clearance advised ready.
Go ahead for clearance for Pacific Western 197.
Pacific Western 197, you're clear to the Sault Ste. Marie Airport via the AFSA 7 departure, USIT transition, flight plan route. Departure runway 23, squawk 6264.
Pacific Western 197 cleared to Charlie Yankee Alpha Mike via the AFSA 7 departure, USIT transition. Taking off runway 23 will squawk 6264.
Pacific Western 197, read back is correct, advisory disconnecting.
Willowbaz ready to taxi, Pacific Western 197.
Velocity 446, requesting Alpha clearance to Perth with information Juliet on board.
Station calling, just confirm velocity.
Affirm.
Velocity 446, North Tower, Roger, standby.
Still the same takeoff speed for V2, so we should be fine. Alright, let's see. Flap 1 is set. We've reset the fuel flow. We've got our self-rated to taxi. Lights for taxi anyway. And let's see. Anti-collision. Now we should be able to get this set. We're off the APU. Let's turn the APU off. APU is off. Packs on. Probe heat's on. Final flow. Gen 1 TR1 set. Gens running. Taxi light on. Flight attendants notified. Window heat's on. Probe heat's on. Hydraulics full work. Packs on. Isolation valve auto. Bleeds on. Cruise set. Landing altitude set. Logo light is needed. Position light steady. Anti-collision light on. That's it. We should be good. Alright, we'll be taking off 2-3. Tower Pacific Western 197 ready to taxi with the weather.
Pacific 197, runway 23, information Juliet with current altimeter 2986, taxi via Alpha Tango, Alpha Hotel.
We're altimeter 2986, information Juliet, and we'll taxi to 23 via Alpha Tango Alpha Hotel, Pacific Western 197. Okay, that's good. So, let's make sure 2986 is set. We have the weather, it's Juliet. Let's go ahead and get going. 2986 is set, and Alpha Tango is literally down the road. Let's see, that'll be the really first right turn, and then Alpha all the way up to hotel. Done. CCA always has a flair for a good entrance. Welcome aboard, friend. Very happy to see you. We're flying in Canada today, flying from Toronto to Sault Ste. Marie. We have just finished pushing back from gate Bravo 13, and we're going to be on our way very shortly. Kick back and relax, friend. Welcome aboard. Let's see. Little trick to getting the parking brake turned off for some reason. Build the pressure up. Don't know why it doesn't want to disengage on its own. There we go. Done deal. We're not bombing anybody. Totally peacetime flight. Let's get a good view set up.
And velocity 446. Sorry for the wait, just checking your flight plan route. It's going to be another minute.
Roger.
Alright, here we go. Been a while since I've been out of here, especially on frequency. So initial climb is set. I don't think they gave me an initial altitude, probably just a flight plan route. Alright, we should be good. This is Alpha Tango.
And velocity 446. I have your clearance advice ready.
Ready for velocity 446.
Velocity 446. You are cleared to Perth International via the AFSET 7 departure. USIT transition. Mike Uniform Sierra India Tango. Flight plan route. Departure runway 23 squawk 6305.
Cleared to Perth via the AFSET 7 departure, MUSIT transition, departure runway is runway 23 and will squawk 6305, velocity 446.
Velocity 446, readback is correct. Call ready for push and start.
We'll call for push, velocity 446.
And Toronto Tower, good afternoon, Air Canada 519, looking for IFR clearance to LAX as filed with information, Juliet.
Air Canada 519, Toronto Tower, very good evening. Roger, standby.
We should be coming up on hotel now. It's a cloudy day in Toronto. Here's hotel. We'll take hotel all the way out to 2-3. And we'll take vectors or direct from ATC until we actually get set up with our flight plan. I should say, ATC will vector us or give us a waypoint to go direct to on our departure, and then it's basically just the route. Also, they'll be responsible for clearing us to our progressive or final altitude. Can say
And Air Canada
temperatures.
519, I have your clearance to LA. Advise you ready to come.
Temperatures have
Ready
been
to
a lot
copy for Air
better.
Canada 519.
American 519, you're cleared to the LA airport via the Ursula 4 departure, Zohan transition, flight plan route. Departure runway 23 squawk 5511.
Clear to LAX as filed. Ursula 4 departure, Zohan transition, runway 23 squawk 5511 for Air Canada
Right,
519.
you said you were moving. I get you.
American 519, readback is correct. Call ready for push and start.
Wilco, Air Canada 519.
Pacific Coast 197, you ready?
Ready to go for Pacific Western 197.
Pacific Coast 197, wind 320 at 14, clear for takeoff on route 23.
Clear for takeoff 23, Pacific Western 197. Okay, so basically it was just going to be another, I don't know, 30 feet for the run-up area. Alright, let's hit the chrono. Where's the chrono? Chrono is right there. We'll get engines to continuous. And wing lights are on. That should be everything we need. Alright, let's not keep them waiting. Come on. Turn more, please. Thank you. Yeah. Let me double check. Yeah. High station valve auto, PAX auto. Alright, folks, here we go. Quick run up and we're out of here. Engines stable. And toga. No warnings.
Velocity 446, ready for pushback.
Scene. Power set.
Velocity 446, push and start is approved. Push tail to the north.
Tail to the north, velocity 446.
Positive reincline.
Positive. Gear is up. Flaps up.
And Pacific Western 197, monitoring and comm. Welcome to the lake. Have a good flight.
Over to Unicom for Pacific Western 107. Thanks for the TC. We'll see ya. Alright, no worries, Frank. No worries. I got you. Let's go ahead and go to Command A. Upward of 1.2.8. Driver person traffic, Pacific Western 107 is 2,900 for 5,000 on the AFSEP 7 departure. Lock us falls in takeoff position. There you go. Alright, so we're on our way. Let's go ahead and take a look at the flight plan, econ, climb. Let's take a look at the map real fast, if we can. So I'm probably going to go direct to TTAD because it seems like the best option, but that's not it. Let's go to AVSEP actually. That should be fine. We're 250. Let's go ahead and clear ourselves up the rest of the way to flight level 380. And that's it. We will do... What was it? Was it level change? There we go. We're good, chat. Alright, after takeoff checklist, we've got gear to the off position. Flaps are up. Turn off's off. Taxi light off. Landing lights on to 10,000. We'll keep the engine start switches to continuous until we cross 10,000 feet, then we'll turn them off. We are good. Taking a look at local radar, we've got nobody around us, and we do have a growing number of people on the ground in Toronto, which is great. There's I think there's a Jazz flight coming into Toronto Pearson that is out in the Ontarian Isthmus between Michigan and, say, New York. So there's that, but that's not going to be a factor. And just like that, we have cleared the cloud cover. It's beautiful out there. Alright, let's release the flight attendants, and we are crossing 10,000, which means landing lights come off, engine start switches back to off, logo light can turn off, and we have a position light to on for strobes, and anti-collision wing lights I'll keep on for now, and that's it. We are well on our way to Charlie Yankee Alpha Mike. Hello everybody and welcome. Good afternoon to all of you. I am flying an FS 2020, flying the beautiful Pacific Western livery, a once upon a time airline, which I forget the story about, but I did see a Pacific Western 737-200 in Villeneuve, thanks to pictures from my friend Nathan's Planes. We are climbing well and quickly. And there is some ATC coverage in Detroit as well as Chicago and Milwaukee, along with center coverage, Chicago Center, but there's nothing in Canada right now. Nothing saying that Toronto Center won't come on, or Toronto radio, but we are well on our way. Good afternoon to everybody. I was doing some things earlier this morning. I took apart my CPU, I took apart my computer, and basically applied some new thermal paste to the CPU and the heatsink. So far, so good. It had been about a year and a half since I actually applied any thermal paste, and to be honest, I'm already seeing better results. Right now, temperatures across the spread, package temperature is like 73.5. I'm using an air cooler, so, you know, warm temperatures are expected. And the computer seems a lot more stable. I think the thermal paste I applied about a year and a half ago was really spread thin. And realistically, I don't want to wait more than like 11 to 12 months to replace it anyway. I was lazy. Fortunately, I was able to unscrew the CPU fan and heatsink and apply a new coat of paste, stick it back on, and boom, we're done. So I did a stress test, I did a torture test earlier using Prime 95, and I ran it at the absolute worst test for like 5 minutes straight, so it was stable. And then I ran a Cinebench multi-core test. I got what are probably very respectable results. I'm running a 5900X AMD Ryzen 9 chipset, and I'm using some semi-custom settings for AMD's Performance Boost Overdrive. There's a manual mode where you can tweak the individual performance limits of the chips, and you can restrict their overclock from not going past motherboard limits. So basically that's what I do, and the performance as a result is, I'm pleased with it. Very good. Single core CPU speeds can go as high as like 4.8 gigahertz, but it is what it is. Like, I like letting individual cores decide how fast or how slow they want to be, as opposed to maxing out all my cores at a specific speed. If I wanted to, I could probably realistically take my 3.7 gigahertz standard clock to maybe 4.3 or 4.4 gigahertz all the time across the board. The problem with that is if you get to a point where you absolutely stress the load, having a 4.4 gigahertz overclock across every single core is liable to make your PC reboot. And I tested single core overclocks where the Prime 95 torture chest runs. Everything I think over 4.2 gigahertz makes the system reboot. And when it reboots, it's not like my computer's gonna die. No. It reboots as a safety for the motherboard and CPU to keep it from actually self-destructing. At least that's what I believe. So I'm okay with that. And ever since I went to having it be a dynamic single core overclock where the motherboard and the CPU decide what speed each core should run at, the performance has turned out to be much better. Like much better. So I'm happy about that. We are well above flight level 180. We're well on our way to Sault Ste. Marie, and it looks like more traffic came on. We've got Cleveland Center, Chicago Center, we've got Kansas City Center, we've got, looks like Port Columbus approach and departure, Detroit approach and departure, same thing for Milwaukee and Chicago. I'm wondering if any of the Canadian centers or major airports are going to light up soon. They might. We'll see. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and enjoy some, nice ambiance of the 737-600 from PMDG. The winningest value for anything approaching a study level aircraft in FS 2020. This is a 737-600. Hold on. There we go. This is a 737-600. This does not have the fins on the wings, and there is no cargo variant for this. To fly a cargo version of this plane, you have to get the 737-700 and up. 700, 800, 900, etc. The 737-600 is what I'm currently flying, and it is the wingspan is actually officially larger than the length of the plane, which I think is kind of it's kind of funny. But otherwise, we're doing okay. Cannot complain. Cannot complain. I don't know if the texture situation with my passengers has changed at all, and I don't know how to actually open this door. I used to know, at least. Hey, slide pins in, and then... Oh no, that's the emergency exit. How do you unlock the door? Panel... Oh, flight deck door and up. That's fine. This is a 736 anyway, so it's unremarkable in that sense, but I can probably use the showcase camera to fly into the plane and take a look. So, things being equal, I'm happy with what I've seen so far out of GSX out of Toronto. I had not used GSX since I bought FS 2020. I had been using it in B3D and had level 2 over there. Now I have it installed in FS 2020, and so far so good. I've done this is going to be my second flight in it, my second full flight in it using GSX, and I'm happy. GSX integrates really well with the PMDG plane. It integrates really well with SimBrief and the fly-by-wire A320neo. I don't have a Phoenix. Maybe I'll buy one day. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and enjoy what I have here. This will be a once and done. I'll go ahead and, park up at Charlie Yankee Alpha Mike, say goodbye and then sign off. I'm going to have an early morning tomorrow and no stream tomorrow as well. I don't know what I'm going to be doing for streams this week. I'm on an unscheduled basis, so if I fire up a stream on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, maybe it'll be 1 or 2 streams this week. Like one on Saturday and one on like Monday or Tuesday or something like that. But just stay tuned to the Discord, and I'll let you know what some of my thoughts are, plans and such. I wrapped up work week yesterday, and I am at least a little bit, more pleased about how it wound up. I'm some of you know I've been chatting about just issues getting my stuff in order with regards to scheduling and work-life balance and whatnot, and I'm doing the absolute best I can to be a diligent worker at work, at the same time trying to keep that margin in my life so that I don't dump everything into trying to get everything done at work and whatnot, because there's only so much I can do in a given day, and I'm not just saying that as a kind of haha, I'm doing my best. No, I'm literally learning now. There's only so much I can do. And to put in an excessive amount of extra time into getting my work done means one of two things. One is I'm not doing my job good enough, or the other option is everybody is backed up with work, and that's just a general problem. So, is what it is. Not going to worry about it. And we're good so far. I'm hoping for a smoother transition to projects and such, and I'm looking to the future, new opportunities, and hopefully with a more relaxed schedule, I'll be able to start doing even more scenery dev, and hopefully doing things to take care of Mrs. Digi and family life better. But right now we are climbing up to our cruising altitude of 38,000 feet. We left Toronto about 22 minutes ago. And that's kind of crazy to say that we went from ground level to cruising altitude in about 20 minutes is kind of nuts. It's fast. It's really fast. So again, so far, I don't have anybody in my immediate vicinity. We've got a few planes flying out of Toronto. One's going to LAX. The Jazz plane, I believe, is going to be landing very shortly. And there is I don't know, was it Vortex or something? That's crazy. They're flying out of Toronto going to Sydney. Unbelievable. They're flying an A350. That's nuts. Happy for him. I mean, rock on. You got the endurance. Go ahead. I figure on a really good day, I'll be able to do, the 4 or 5 hour flights I used to do. And it looks like we got a lot of flights out of Cancun. There are so many people that took off that are either flying to Miami or Zurich. That's actually incredible. So we've got, let's see, Havana Center, Merida Center, Miami Center, Houston Center, and Atlanta Center. And we've also got Moncton Center, and I think Moncton Center's in 2 pieces. I guess it is. Plus a lot of Atlantic Ocean traffic, which is cool. I'm taking a look at that spot. If you want to follow me online right now, whether it's SimAware or some other software, I am Pacific Western 197, so Papa Whiskey Alpha 197. I'm just about to exit the Ontarian Isthmus by the Great Lakes, so I'm going out the northwest side of it. To put it in perspective, I'm like an hour northeast of Detroit. So it will be back that way. I am using Google Maps instead of standard Bing imagery. We'll see whether or not things look nicer when we get to Charlie Yankee Alpha Mike. And I've got what should be enough fuel to get me there safely. We've got at least 2,300 pounds on reserve, on top of an extra 200 to 300 pounds. But yeah, I think I'm carrying like an extra 4,000 to 5,000 pounds overall in case of emergencies or diversions. Speaking of which, what did the flight plan say was going to be my alternate? Did it say it? Alternate right now is oh, that's interesting. The alternate's Toronto. That's funny. So I guess I gotta go back if the champagne's not Corbel. That might explain why I had 13,600 pounds of fuel. But that's fine. Okay, so I have been flying, I have been streaming now for a little over an hour. That's cool. Good afternoon to everybody. Hopefully you're having a very good day. I do not normally do flights on stream. I've been trying to get a few things set, a few tasks juggled, and happy to say that I am on my way to that. I'll lower the volume a touch because I think it's almost overpowering my voice. Maybe a little bit more. And we'll keep it there for the rest of the stream, so things might stay a little bit quieter. Yeah, that's where it'll stay. All right, so in case anybody's curious, I am in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Microsoft recently released an updated version of this sim. It's literally called Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. That was first released last November, and they have been making additional updates and bug fixes to it. I hadn't spent time in it because I wanted to have an easier time flying airliners. And now that I have the GSX Pro product, it comes with a license for FS 2024 as well as this sim. So I'm probably going to start doing more flights there. The second thing I really need to get handled is I need to understand how to set up my throttle quadrant, my reversers, all the usual things I do when I'm flying the plane. Because if I can do it that way, if I can get my key binds and my button binds set so I can push things without having to click a lot of spots with a mouse, that will go a long way to making my experience in FS 2024 a lot better. Last time I tried flying FS 2024, I had a less than agreeable experience at 2K resolution, so I think we're better now. I think it was mostly due to the fact that my thermal paste on my CPU was on its way out. So we've got that set. We're cruising altitude. I'm going to go ahead and let the flight attendants know. And we'll turn the seatbelt sign off. Alright, take a quick peek up. TR1 Gen 1 running on gens. All lights are off. Yeah, looks like we should be fine. Packs on, isolation valve auto, the pressurization should be set, and that is about it. Okay. Let's glide on over a little bit. Okay, so takeoff performance is fine. Let's go back to the electronic flight bag. We are doing fine at this point. So if I take a look, we are flying over Lake Huron right now. I was actually right before. Lake Superior is the westmost Great Lake. The other lakes, of course, are Lake Michigan by Chicago and Milwaukee, Lake Erie by Ohio and New York, and Lake Ontario by Ontario and New York State. So far, so good. Hopefully everybody's enjoying their weekend. I certainly am. I'm pleased to be flying this flight today on frequency, but I don't think I'm going to be getting much more coverage, at least not right now. I don't know. I don't know. Meanwhile, in Europe, I think they're powering down most of the ATC. There is still some ATC in the UK, and there are some airports that are getting some traffic, you know, with Tower and ATIS frequencies, but I think the North and Southern American regions are starting to power up with ATC coverage. I would probably say I have another, I don't know how many more minutes, probably like 40 minutes at best. Let me take a look at the Navicraft charts. We're going to be going to Musset very shortly, and then we're going to be lining up. Ottman is going to be my entry into the RNAV approach for runway 30. And if I take a look at the approach plate, I want to be at 2,000 feet at SVED. So let me leave that alone for now, and let me get back to the screen. Musset is 21.4 nautical miles away, and if I take a look at let's take a look at the rest of the flight plan. We'll clear that. Oh, sheesh, look at that. We're already coming up on top of the set. Yeah, look at that. Alright, we'll take it down to about 4,000 feet. So 4,000 feet is set, and I think we'll be descending very shortly, like in the next 3 nautical miles. If I did it in time, we should start dropping. Alright, so no off-schedule descent. This is on schedule, and we are pressurized. So I think we're like 8,500 feet pressurized right now. And we should start descending very shortly. I should start seeing that pop up on the what is that, PFD? There we go. Alright, so let's take a look at the approach. We'll start getting that set. Approach ref, we can take 129er knots with flaps 30 or 127 knots with flaps 40. I'll take flaps 30 because it's not really much of a difference. And wind correction +5. So the approach speed is probably going to be about 135, give or take. We've got 6,000 feet of runway available to us, so the more we use, the better. And the slower we go, the easier time we'll have slowing down. So I am okay with that. Just like that, we're on the way down. That was a pretty quick departure out of Toronto, to be honest. I wasn't expecting to have a flight that was that quick I'm happy about it. So given that we're descending already and we're coming down from 38,000 feet to about 4,000 feet, we're losing a little over 32,000 feet, which means we have about 80 nautical miles to get us down to our particular, was it 80? No. About 90 some odd nautical miles? Wait, 32 divided by 3. That's like a little bit less than, it's a little over 10, so da 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 da. So about 100, 110 nautical miles out would be a little early, but yeah. Which makes sense. There we go. Okay, about to cross Musset, and we're already on our way down. Winds are out of the west-southwest at 138 knots, so we've had quite a bit of a push. Let's decrease the angle of attack for the turns, just so we can kind of get that oscillation under control. Now we should be fine. I hope. Could also be a problem with just winds on descent, so I'm glad I'm not wearing VR headset right now, because that would just mess with my brain. Let me take a look at the charts. Okay, we also have a decel point right around 4,000 feet, so that should take care of us. Thanks to everybody that stopped by and said hello, and thank you to everyone that's lurking right now in chat. Don't feel bad if you don't want to engage. I totally respect you guys coming over and lurking, and you are bringing up the channel algorithm by doing so. At least I think you are. At any rate, glad to have you aboard. After we park up at Charlie Yankee Alpha Mike, I'm going to be bidding all of you a fond farewell as I break for probably some dinner and maybe some other non-PC related things before bed. And since there's pretty much nobody around me, it makes like almost no sense for me to make an announcement on the way in. So I'll make an announcement if nobody else is coming into the airport when I am set up on approach. But let's see, not bad for about 32 minutes of flying. We've got about 9,700 pounds of fuel left on board, and oh, you know what I can do? I can probably tweak the approach course for the heading. It is 295. 295. Done deal. Let's get that set right now. Okay, 295, and we'll get that one set for my current heading, which is 326, which is actually a little bit weird. Why would we not be more over on the left side of the magenta line as opposed to the right side? I can't tell, to be honest. And to be even more transparent, I'm going to go ahead and give myself a direct to SVED, because honestly, I don't feel like dealing with any weird repositioning. So 79 nautical miles to SVED, and at SFET I actually want to be at 2,000 feet. Oh, well, that would also be why I'm not following the magenta line better, because my LNAV is off. That's weird. Must have been user error on my part. That's fine. Looks like we will be coming into some weather. If it's just mostly cloudy skies, that's fine. Arrival. Winds 300 at 22, so winds right down the nose. Visibility 20 statute miles, clouds broken 3,800. Temperature 2, dew point -2, and the altimeter is 3000. Altimeter set. So there we are. I can live with that. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to read about how to fix the purple texture issue, because I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why the passengers are purple textures right now. We're kind of chasing the sun, but we should be down before the sun sets, so that's good. And looks like we're still on target for 2,000 feet by SFET, I believe. Maybe a little bit above it. We shouldn't have any discrepancies before we get to our touchdown point. Yeah, and the mist approach altitude again is going to be 3,100 feet. Hopefully we won't have to use that. So again, confirming flaps 30 for our arrival, about 135 knots for our final approach speed. Not sure why it doesn't want to go faster, but it looks like it is trying to correct now, so I'm happy with that. Over the past few days, I purchased GSX Pro and I downloaded the A380 from Fly-by-Wire. I might be doing some experimental fun flights in the A380 from, like, say, JFK to Miami, or like Dulles to LAX, something like that for funsies. Or Dulles to SFO, and we'll see how that performs. Who knows? I might even start flying the 787 again. That'd be cool. Continuing on. But then again, We'll see. I think I'm very curious about the A380. I might actually give that a shot sometime very soon. I've logged many hours in the 787, so I'm comfortable flying that bird. I also enjoy flying the 747, and if I have time this year in the next couple weekends, I might do the cross the pond westbound lazy mode again in MSFS multiplayer. I've flown out of France like twice now. Wait, I flew out of France the 1 year, and I flew out of Dublin the last time that I crossed. So I might try flying out of either like Manchester or Glasgow or Heathrow and flying to either JFK, Philadelphia, or Dallas International Airport. Landing into JFK would be great. That would be cool. Also, I think if I start to get into a flow again with regards to scheduling and whatnot, I'll start working on my sceneries again. I heard that there were, actually didn't hear, I saw that people are actually able to do certain things in the scenery development kit again in MSFS. So I'm hopeful to be able to kind of just start getting used to working my flight sim chops back in again. Okay, about to cross 18,000, going back into local pressure. There we go, local pressure 3000 at the airport, which is what we'll keep. And do we have any ATC on right now? We still don't have any ATC on in Toronto. Excuse me, in Toronto Radar or Toronto Center. We do have Toronto Tower ATC and Pearson Approach and Departure, so they actually added that on. We did have Chicago Center, they went offline. Milwaukee Approach and Departure went offline. Now we have a whole bunch of stuff on the East Coast. That's crazy. Okay, so we should be landing pretty shortly. We need to be at 1,900 feet, so I might decide to override descent performance and go manual with vertical speed override and speed intervention. But I'll let it ride for now. We'll see what happens. We are under 18,000 feet, so let's start prepping for our arrival. Local pressure set right now. Let's go ahead and set auto brake to probably 3 for the airport and arm the speed brakes. Speed brakes are armed, and gear is off. It'll come down shortly. Flaps don't have to come down until we really start slowing down, and we are on Unicom. I don't need to tune or set any nav because I'm using RNAV. And altitude will set to 2,000, but we will reconfigure that for 3,100 for missed approach if it happens. And autopilot set. Fuel pumps as necessary. Yaw dampers on. We're still doing Gen 1 TR1, running on generators. No need for lights just yet, but I'll let them know to get ready. And window heat's on, probe heat's on, hydraulics running as per usual, packs, isolation valve, bleeds, landing altitude set. I think we're okay. The last time I checked windy.com, I did not see any rain in the forecast, or at least any rain in the immediate area, so I don't think we're going to have a problem here. Okay, so the green banana is just behind SVED, which means we'll hit 2,000 feet just after that waypoint. Actually, a little bit after that waypoint, but we'll be around 2,000 feet when we actually start descending. That kind of concerns me because the descent path is going to be a lot more aggressive than I want it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and pull rank and say I want 2,000 feet, and I want to make that happen myself. So I'm going to adjust it so the banana hits SVED exactly where I want it to. And with about 1,600 feet per minute, we will hit our desired entry point. Actually, hold on. We don't have to descend that fast. I misinterpreted. We'll push it back. And now I think 1,400 feet per minute should be fine. So there we go. 1,400 feet per minute. We're not waffling back and forth. We'll hit SVED at 2,000 feet, and that'll set us up for a nice approach into Sault Ste. Marie. Again, sorry, I'm butchering it, I know it. Or at least I'm sure I am. So that's fine. I am relatively confident that the RNAV is going to get us down. I'll hit the approach button and have it take us down most of the way. We'll probably cut off the autopilot around 500 feet, and then we should be able to guide the plane down to what I'm hoping for is a smooth landing. We're approaching 10,000 feet, so I'll go ahead and turn my landing lights on now. And we will turn engine start switches to continuous, just in case we run into issues. And what else do I need? I don't know. I can turn on my logo light if I want to. And I just did. Okay, so we are past 10,000 feet. This is basically final approach time. We are hopefully cleaned up in the background and cleaned up in the cabin. And what do I need to do? The RNAV is taking care of my approach data, so I don't have to worry about setting an ILS frequency. We are going to reset our heading. And we have course set for 295 for our approach into Charlie Yankee Alpha Mike. And once I cross into SVED, I'll go ahead and make an announcement to all stations, or to what I think is all stations, and then basically we will go ahead and be done. Not bad for a quick little flight tonight, I'm happy. And if I take a look at my performance numbers, yeah, the my CPU temps have been way more nicely behaved. I'm very happy to see that. I will probably hop on and off from some streams tonight, so you might see me around. I won't be up too late. I will be up early tomorrow morning, and then I'll have some folks over for tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, and then the start of a new work week on Monday. Low enough to start seeing some trees and ground cover. There's a little bit of snow, not a lot. Can't see the airport just yet, but we're on our way down. Our minimums are 860 feet, and it looks like we will hit 2,000 feet right around SVED, which is great. There's even an extended center line. Below 6,000 feet. So, let's see, approach checklist. We've got auto brake 3, speed brakes armed. Flaps are not required yet. We should probably let the system take over. But I think I'm going to start slowing down myself. I forgot that I wasn't using LNAV, but that's fine. I just have to slow the bird down myself. I don't think I'm going to need any speed brakes to do so, which is great. If I don't have to, you know, go into panic mode on final approach, that would be a very good thing. Appreciate everybody that stopped by and said hello, and everybody that's tuned in for the approach. We are on our way into Charlie Yankee Alpha Mike, just above Michigan in the States, and we are completing another leg in my Go West Young Man tour as we fly west across Canada. Today we're flying the 737-600, and we're coming up on our approach altitude. This is the Pacific Western livery, which I just downloaded from flightsim.co, and to be honest, I am very pleased with it. It's nice. Passenger purple texture problems, I don't like, but we'll deal. Look at that. That's wonderful. Okay, coming up on 2,000 feet. Let's start getting ready. We should have enough time to level off and decel. So I think what I'm going to do is this. Hit the VNAV button. Let the systems take care of themselves. And I will probably start feeding in flaps 1 pretty soon. Alright, we are almost ready here. Once we land, we'll probably try to take taxiway Juliet back to Foxtrot to the main terminal. All stations in the Sault Ste. Marie area, Pacific Western 1907 type Boeing 737-600 on approach runway 30 RNAV. Thank you, friend. Welcome aboard, Eric Flight. Happy to have you. We are about to wrap up our flight. We took off from Toronto about 52 minutes ago. I think I can see the airport right there. We're flying the 737-600. Coming up on the decel point now. So let's go ahead and hit flap 1. And we'll hit the approach button. Approach is armed. Okay, engine start switches are continuous. I'm going to turn the APU on, but I'm not going to start it just yet. We'll hit flaps 2 and then flaps 5. Alright, we've got about 8 nautical miles till touchdown. Flaps 10. Okay, gear down, flaps 15. Flaps 25. And flaps 30. We'll take IAS 135. That's a little over ref plus 5, but basically we're good. Eric, remember that running joke we had? I'm a cowboy. On a steel horse I ride. And I'm landing. VREF plus 5. Okay, so we are descending. And I think we are keeping the imaginary glide slope. We're using an RNAV approach here. I can see the airport, and I'm going a little bit slower than I'd like, but basically, we'll take flaps 30, and we should be okay. We're nowhere near the you know, emergency speed, and we are dealing with a slight crosswind now. So let's see. Landing checklist. Engine start switches. Continuous. Speed brake. Armed. Landing gear. Down. Flaps. Flaps 30. Green light. And landing checklist complete. 1,000. Stable. We'll set our missed approach altitude if we have to. And it is now set. Height checked. Missed approach altitude set. I'm hoping to pull off by Juliet, but if necessary, we'll go all the way to the end of the runway and hit Foxtrot and then taxi back. Looking nice for the approach. Bit of a Sunset Club arrival. Man, give me the days. .500 feet. My aircraft. And my throttle.
Approaching minimums. Minimums.
A little bit offset, but continuing. Reverse green, speed breaks up. Reverse is normal. Okay. I forgot that I could actually engage the reverse thrust more easily on the main throttle quadrant, but welcome down. Probably like a minus 280 or something. So, is what it is. Sault Ste. Marie traffic, Pacific Western 197, clear of runway 30, taxiing to terminal via Foxtrot. Okay, let's get cleaned up. We have the APU started. We'll get the taxi lights on. Get the landing lights off, but we'll keep the strobes on. Wing lights can come off. Actually, you know what? We'll leave them on. So turn off the landing lights. Don't have any turn off lights. Just the taxi light on. We'll turn the engine start switches off. And the APU is coming on now. Okay, so slightly messy landing, but I'm glad I broke out the throttle quadrant and joystick for that, because I think it would have been even messier with my gamepad. And I will turn off the chrono now. So a little bit less than an hour for the flight time, and we had about, I think, 15 minutes on the ground. So I'm gonna say we're like bang on for the block time. Scenery looking wonderful. I set my AccuSeason advanced to refresh automatically now, so I don't have to worry about getting the trees to look like they're in season right now. And we're just like coming into, like, you know, down primetime spring, so basically I don't see a lot of color up here yet, but we do see some snow on the ground, which is great. It you know, makes me happy. APU is available. Let's go ahead and switch over to it. APU gen, battery on the bus. Okay, about to cross runway 22. So St. Marie traffic, Pacific Western 197 crossing to runway 22. Okay, there's the destination. Let's go ahead and probably ask for some help from GSX. And let's see, noticeable parkings? Okay. Alright, I'll probably have to mess around with some settings, maybe even make some scenery for this at some point, something basic that will let me see more detail. There's no major taxiway kind of like entrance area things. I can't see any. But I figure what I'll do is I will turn in where I see what I think I see, which is a parking point. We are on the tarmac, and now I should be able to just line up with that imaginary taxiway line, park up, and shut the plane down. Thanks again to everybody that stopped by today and said hello. We are about to park up at Charlie Yankee Alpha Mike and call it a day. It's been a fun little flight. Had some ATC on the way out of Toronto, so I cannot complain. This was a very nice day. Next is probably dinner for me. Okay, so with the brakes on, we should have the parking brakes set now, and that's about it. Flaps up, and we can turn the ET time off, and that's it. About an hour and a half, maybe like give or take 5 minutes, or probably like an hour 20, hour 25, and we're down. Alright, so since GSX probably isn't going to give me any assistance, I'm going to go ahead and use the PMDG options. So let's see, 2 blue, 1 red, engines are dead. Wonderful. Let's go ahead and call up some ground services for PMDG, and here we go. That's how we do it. Ground services. we will set the wheel chocks, and I will request ground power. Also, I will request actually, can I do it now? I don't know. No, because GSX doesn't see any suitable parking, so we'll do this by hand. We'll request air stairs. Actually, excuse me. We'll request stairs. And we will request a passenger bus. And that should do it. Let's go upstairs, get the ground power on. Ground power is on, standby power. Let's go ahead and turn off the... Actually, turn off the APU bleed, I believe. Turn off the APU first. And now I can turn off the engine bleeds, the APU bleed, get the isolation valve open, and turn the packs off. Okay, so packs off, yaw damper off, fuel pumps off, lights off, hydraulics back to pre-takeoff mode, probe heats off, window heats off, and then we have packs, bleeds off, and that should do it. Superb. Alright, so we are set. We've got our bus, we've got our BMWG things, we've got our colored and purple passengers in there, and that's it. Alright. That's going to go ahead and do it for me for today. I will potentially be doing some more flying this week. It depends. I'm probably going to do everything I can to start getting back into scenery dev. At the very least, probably messing around with my hardware a little bit more. I've been doing a little bit of fun work with my Raspberry Pi machines, and I'm potentially going to be messing around with my Raspberry Pi Zero machines even more for electronics work and such. We are at Charlie Yankee Alpha Mike, and we have basically arrived. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect, and I'm probably also going to turn on traffic options at this point if I can. So let's see, multiplayer, live weather. I think you have to do that from the menu. That's fine. That's fine. But we're here. We're here. I appreciate everybody that stopped by and said hello, and those of you that lurked. I am probably going to continue the next leg of the Canada series from here, probably flying either to Thunder Bay or maybe even Saskatchewan or Manitoba. And then we'll find out what happens next. Alright folks, that is going to do it for me, and I'm going to go ahead and see if there's anybody I can say hello to really quickly. So let's take a look at my channel and see who's actually on right now. We have 757 Spy doing flights from Detroit to Dulles. Continuum is flying in Venezuela. Ropenza's in X-Plane 12. And who else is here? Let's see, Iron Condor. We have my friend BRYN MWR. And anybody else? Let's see, Nightwolf. They are flying a pilot's life right now. So, you know what? Let's spread the love. Let's go ahead and raid Nightwolf and get some folks over there in case you want to get some more Flight Sim content today. I appreciate all of you. Much love to you all. Like I always like to say at the end of every stream, if you want true peace, you want the Prince of Peace, and that is Jesus Christ. Take care, friends, and we will see you. Until next time.